like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so today we're diving into something pretty heavy, pretty controversial. Presidential pardons.
Yeah.
Specifically, the possibility that Donald Trump could pardon those involved in the January 6th Capitol attack.
Right.
It's we're talking about potentially undoing legal judgments on a massive scale, really.
Right.
And it just brings up so many complex questions about justice.
Oh, absolutely. And accountability, for sure. It's a really fascinating situation because it's such a pivotal moment in American history. I mean, we're not just talking about the law here. We're talking about democracy itself.
Yeah. You're right about that. Over 1,500 people were charged with crimes related to January 6th.
Wow.
Ranging from misdemeanors all the way up to seditious conspiracy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Seditious conspiracy, that's the most serious charge you can get,
Right.
short of treason. Over 1,000 have already pleaded guilty. More than 220 have been convicted at trial. Hundreds have already served their sentences. It's hard to even imagine.
Yeah. It's a lot to process, for sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot to even try to understand, what a mass pardon would even mean. And it's easy to get lost in the legal stuff, the politics of it all.
Right.
But there are real people involved here. Families whose lives have been completely upended.
Of course.
People facing years in prison.
Yeah.
And victims still struggling with the trauma of that day.
Exactly. Like Christopher Carnell. He was facing charges, nonviolent charges, related to January 6th.
Right.
And he tried to delay his trial.
Really?
He thought a pardon was coming, but the judge refused. He was convicted, and he got 6 months. It just shows you the level of uncertainty, the anxiety that people are feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you trust the courts, or do you just hope for a pardon?
Right.
It's a tough, tough decision. And it shows you how this impacts real people.
It's not just theoretical. These are real people's lives.
Exactly.
And imagine being a police officer who was injured that day.
Oh, yeah.
Or a member of Congress, fearing for their life as the Capitol's being breached. What does a pardon mean for them?
Right. It would make them feel like they didn't get justice.
Absolutely.
Like they can't heal, can't move on. And that's not even talking about the rule of law.
Right.
And what kind of precedent this sets for future violence.
It's like we're at a crossroads. Do we choose forgiveness and reconciliation? Or do we uphold the idea that actions have consequences?
It's a tough one.
Even if those actions were driven by, politics or misinformation.
Yeah. Some people really feel like those involved in January 6th, they were overcharged, like they were just caught up in the moment or tricked by bad information. They see a pardon as a way to heal the country, bring everyone together.
Yeah.
But others, they feel totally different. They think a pardon would be disrespectful to the victims. Like the justice system doesn't work. Like it could even encourage more attacks on democracy in the future.
Yeah.
And to really understand this, we need to look at the law. The power of a presidential pardon is huge.
Okay.
A president can pardon any federal crime. No limits.
Wow.
No reason needed. Nothing.
So Trump could pardon every single person convicted for January 6th.
He could.
Even those convicted of seditious conspiracy?
Yep.
Like Enrique Tarrio, who got 22 years.
Yep.
Or Stuart Rhodes, 18 years.
Yeah. The Constitution gives the president a lot of power here.
Right.
And to get an idea of what this could look like, you can think about some recent examples.
Okay.
Like President Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden,
Right.
and he pardoned over 1,500 people convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. But even those are small compared to the potential pardons for January 6th.
Yeah.
This would be way bigger. We've never seen anything like it.
Right.
And it's hard to say what could happen.
And it's not just about the numbers, it's the message it sends, right? If these pardons happen, especially for the most serious charges, it could be seen as saying that attacking the Capitol was okay.
Exactly. That trying to overturn the election is forgivable.
It's almost like saying it's okay to attack our own government.
Yeah. And that's the big question, isn't it? Where's the line? What actions are so bad that a president can't forgive them?
It's a difficult question.
It is, with no easy answers.
Yeah.
But we need to think about it.
Yeah. And to really get the full picture, we need to look beyond the individual cases.
Right.
Look at the big picture.
Right?
Legally, politically.
Exactly. There's talk of Trump issuing a blanket commutation order.
What does that mean?
Basically, reducing the sentences for everyone and then reviewing each case individually for a potential pardon. But even that would be a huge task.
Yeah.
Coordinating with courts and prisons all over the country, figuring out the details of every single case.
It would be chaos.
It would. And it makes you wonder if it would be fair.
Yeah. How do you make sure everyone's treated equally? How do you keep politics out of it?
Exactly. Especially since Trump has said he wants to change the Justice Department. Bring in people who agree with his views on January 6th.
Like Pam Bondi for Attorney General.
Yeah.
And Kash Patel for FBI Director.
Right. They both think the January 6th prosecutions were wrong.
So if they get those jobs, that could stop any future investigations.
Right, exactly. And that's worrisome.
It is. And then there's Judge Royce Lamberth.
Okay.
He's been very clear about how serious January 6th was.
Mm-hmm.
He said no matter what happens with pardons, the truth about January 6th will never change. Powerful words. It shows how important that day was.
They really are. It's not just about the legal stuff. It's about history, about truth, about who we are as a country. And what happens in the next few days, the next few weeks, will have a huge impact, not just on the people involved, but on our democracy itself.
This whole thing really highlights the divides in our country, you know?
Absolutely.
On one side, you have those who think a lot of those charged.
Right.
They were just swept up in the moment. The political rhetoric got to them.
They see them as patriots, really. People who were misled. Maybe even victims themselves of misinformation or political manipulation. You know, they think a pardon is a way to heal, to move past the anger, the division.
And on the other side, you have people who see January 6th as an attack on our democracy.
Right, a planned attack.
A real attempt to overturn a legitimate election.
To them, a pardon feels like a betrayal. Like justice wasn't served.
Like some people are above the law.
Exactly. It's not about letting people off easy. It's about upholding the law, holding people accountable for what they did, you know, especially those who wanted to undermine our government.
And it's not just about the people who were there, right? What about those who might have planned it or encouraged it?
That's a big question. If the investigations stop, if pardons are given, do those people just get away with it?
It's a scary thought.
It is. It makes you think about transparency, about accountability in government. If people in power can just ignore the law,
right,
people lose trust. And that's bad for democracy.
It's a slippery slope.
It is. Are we setting a bad example? What if this tells people it's okay to use violence to get what you want politically?
We keep talking about pardons, but we can't forget over 140 officers were injured in the attack.
Of course.
And some died later, including 4 by suicide.
That's right.
Those are real reminders of the human cost of that day.
They are. And pardons could make it even worse for those victims, those families.
Imagine being an officer, hurt that day. Maybe your life has changed forever, and then the people who did it...
They walk free, no consequences.
It's just not right. We need to be thoughtful about this whole thing.
We do. How do you balance forgiveness with accountability, with justice? It's a huge question.
It really is. And it's not just a legal question, is it?
No, not at all.
It's moral. It's about society.
It's about what kind of country we want to be, what's important to us.
Yeah. Do we forgive those who attack our government, or do we hold them accountable?
No matter who they are, no matter why they did it.
It's a decision that will impact our whole country.
And it's up to us as citizens to really think about it.
Judge Lamberth said that no matter what happens, the truth about January 6th will remain.
I remember that.
That's important. It's our job to learn from what happened, to understand it.
And to make sure it never happens again.
It's a tough topic.
It is.
But we can't ignore it.
We have to understand it all, not just the law, but how it makes people feel.
We need to listen to those who are there.
To their stories, their pain.
To understand their perspective, make sure they're not forgotten.
Exactly. Those stories are so important. This isn't just a theoretical debate.
It's about real people, real lives.
And the decisions being made will have real consequences for those people.
It's a defining moment for our country. And how we handle this will shape our future. We've been talking about these potential pardons for the January 6th attackers. And it's just so clear this isn't just about the law, you know?
It really isn't.
It's about our core beliefs, about justice, about accountability.
Right. And about what kind of democracy we want.
What I find so fascinating is how this could change how we see presidential power.
That's interesting.
If a president can pardon people who attacked the Capitol.
Right. The very heart of government.
What's stopping future presidents from doing the same thing?
Protecting their friends, even if they did something really bad.
It's a scary thought.
It is. It's uncharted territory, you know?
We're testing the limits of executive power.
And we don't know what the consequences will be.
That's why it's so important to be informed, to be engaged.
Absolutely. We need to understand all of this, talk about it.
And hold our leaders accountable.
Exactly. Our democracy depends on us, on citizens being active and involved.
We can't just sit back and watch.
No, we can't.
Why not? This is our future.
And this deep dive, it's giving you the knowledge to participate in this conversation.
Right.
You've heard the facts. You've heard different opinions.
Yeah.
Now it's time to take that and do something with it.
I like that.
Talk to people. Ask questions.
Make your voice heard.
That's what it's all about.
It's like what Judge Lamberth said, that the truth of January 6th will always be there.
Right.
It's up to us to remember it, to make sure we learn from it.
Exactly. And remember, even with pardons, January 6th changed things. It changed American politics, how we trust our institutions.
And those divisions, the things that led to that day, they're still there.
They are. We have to find a way forward, a way to heal, to come together again.
So as we finish up this deep dive, we want you to think about something.
Yeah.
Take what you've learned, think about your own perspective, and ask yourself, what role do you want to play in shaping our country's future?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the future of our democracy, it's not up to the politicians or the judges. It's up to the citizens.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made up.